Music, what is up, fight fans? Today we have a huge episode filled with fresh updates and major changes happening all across the MMA world.
No more pay-per-view! Okay, maybe a little fighting.
UFC 324 main event. I think it's a disgrace.
What happens to Arman? Arman's gonna have to fight who?
Do you think, does it leave Sarukian in limbo at lightweight?
Stupid, he's not moving up. Like, come on.
The community is frustrated, emotions are running high, and everyone is talking about what just happened. Arman Sarukian got completely pushed aside while Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett look happier than ever. So what actually happened here? Why did Dana White make a decision that shocked the entire fan base? The UFC announced that Paddy Pimblett and Justin Gaethje will fight for the interim belt, and the news exploded online immediately. Everyone knows that the real number one contender is Arman Sarukian, and that is why this whole situation feels so messy. Arman is the fighter who deserved the next title shot. He just dominated Dan Hooker in a way that left no doubts. He proved he is the top contender, he proved he belongs in the title picture, and fans expected the UFC to reward him. But the opposite happened. Not only did he lose the title shot, he did not even get the interim fight. Now he is stuck without an opponent while the entire top 5 is already booked. Gaethje and Pimblett will fight for the interim belt in January 2026 at UFC 324. Charles Oliveira and Max Holloway are talking about fighting in March. So the top guys are set, and Sarukian can only wait. He has no opponent, no date, and no clear future. Many fans are blaming Ilia Topuria, saying he ruined the division. But at this point it is clear that this is not just Topuria. It looks like a coordinated plan between him and the UFC. And now that we see how things are shaping up, it makes sense why the UFC waited so long to announce Topuria's next opponent. There is a massive event coming up at the White House, and it seems the UFC wants a historic headliner there, a super fight between Ilia Topuria and Islam Makhachev. That would be a true champion versus champion mega fight, something the UFC has never had before.
They confirmed that the UFC does not like Arman Sarukian. Not necessarily about star power, not necessarily about fight style, but they are really mad at Arman Sarukian for how he handled his pullout against Islam Makhachev. What was that, UFC 311? And then his first fight back, which was 10 months later, was almost called off because he headbutted Dan Hooker at the weigh-ins. If you thought Arman Sarukian was going to get the first fight on Paramount, no. I saw some people saying on Twitter and other places that the UFC has it out for Arman. Yeah, they do. Look at Diego Lopez. Does he necessarily deserve another title shot against Volk? Probably not. But Diego Lopez has said yes to everything since he got into the UFC. Also, Arman punched a fan while he was walking out. UFC doesn't like him. He's too good though. He probably will hold the belt at some point, but they are going to make him wait. Whoever wins Paddy vs. Gaethje will fight Ilia in the spring, and we won't see Ilia against Arman until the end of the year, and Ilia still wants that fight against Islam. So who knows? And I think the only person that Arman has to blame here is himself.
But let us look at this from another angle. Justin G.I. is a legend. He has been in the UFC for a long time and has given fans some of the craziest wars in MMA history. Honestly, that is why the UFC decided to meet him halfway. They gave him one last big chance. Gaethje reacted with full gratitude and energy. He wrote that he is thankful for the opportunity, thankful for this new chapter with the UFC and Paramount, and ready to remind the world who he is. He said he wants to prove again that he is still one of the most exciting fighters of this era. And the truth is, when Gaethje steps into the cage, he always delivers. No excuses, no running, no boring fights, just pure chaos. And now with Paddy across from him, the stakes are higher than ever. Paddy Pimblett did not waste a single moment after getting the interim fight. He immediately went after Arman Sarukian online with a "you like apples" jab aimed straight at him. Classic Paddy trolling. He even dropped a clip showing Arman crying. Paddy is enjoying every second of this. He knows this matchup is a gift from the UFC, and he knows how huge this opportunity is. If he somehow beats Justin Gate, he becomes the interim lightweight champion, and that would be crazy. Paddy feels this is the biggest moment of his life, and he is going all in with full energy.
First ever time I'm going to fought in January, the earliest I've ever fought. It's going to ruin my Christmas dinner and my birthday, because I'm 31 like 3 weeks before it. But it's all going to be worth it when I lift that real title above my head, and Paddy the Baddy is a world champion, and 2026 is going to be the biggest year of my life. I am coming for that interim title, then I'll be making it the undisputed title when I come and beat Ilia Topuria up and take the undisputed title. And then little posh boy, if he manages to fight in that time, because he likes sitting out and saying he's got a sore back, if little posh boy fights in that time and keeps his ranking, I'll punch his head in as well.
Sean Ali also stepped into the discussion about Ilia Topuria versus Arman Tsarukyan. In a recent conversation on the Overdog podcast, he shared his thoughts on what is happening in the division.
He said that he would vacate the belt to not fight Arman Tsarukyan. Is he running from Arman?
It's hard to picture anybody beating Ilia right now. You know, realistically, they go get in that cage, it's like Arman definitely has a chance. He definitely has a shot. Ilia is such a massive superstar right now. It's like, why fight Arman when you could fight Islam or, I mean, Gaethje's a bigger fight than Arman. Paddy's a bigger fight. So it just depends on where Ilia's head's at. Does he want to just go out there and, hey, I want the next best guy? I feel like he's kind of past that. He's kind of like, who's the biggest fight? What's going to be the most attention? In his mind, it's not Arman right now.
TJ Dillashaw added even more fire to the situation by claiming that Ilia Topuria is running from Arman Tsarukyan. Speaking on the Jackson podcast, Dillashaw said his opinion clearly and sparked another round of arguments online.
Ilia has expressed interest about moving up and maybe trying to face Makhachev. How realistic is this scenario, do you think? You know, does it leave Tsarukyan in limbo at lightweight?
Stupid. He's not moving up. Like, come on. There's too many horses in the stable at 170.
I'm moving up.
Yeah.
Is he trying to run from Arman?
I
Is
do.
Ilia running from Arman?
I do think so.
Oh,
okay.
hello.
That's
I do
good
think
shit.
so.
Hello.
But with that said, I think that Ilia Topuria.
Who wouldn't want to run from Arman?
Is
Have
the-
you seen him before?
I'm running from him currently. I don't even know the guy I'm running from.
I do think Ilia Topuria is the highest skilled fighter in the UFC right now, but I do think he is threatened by Arman. Arman's big, he's strong, he's great at the weight class, his boxing is clean, great grappling. It's a tough fight for him to where he can go to 70s. Maybe he doesn't get the win. It doesn't make sense to me. The only fight for Ilia Topuria right now is Arman.
Ariel Helwani went off on the UFC. On his MMA show, Helwani said he could not believe the promotion ignored the obvious #1 contender, Arman Tsarukyan. According to Helwani, Arman earned his spot the hard way, beat top fighters, took the toughest matchups, and still got passed over for a fight that seems more about business than rankings.
#1 contender at 155 pounds is a guy named Arman Tsarukyan, and he's not involved in this fight. This is a makeshift fight. This is as prestigious as a BMF title. God bless. I said I wanted to see Paddy fight for the belt. God bless. But this is a bogus fight, and it's insane to me that it is headlining over Kayla Harrison versus Amanda Nunes. On paper, Paddy vs. Justin is a fine fight to determine the #1 contender to fight Ilia and or Arman. Ilia won that belt back in June. I don't even think you need an interim title fight. Honestly, it should have been the co-main event, 5-round #1 contender fight, Ilia versus Arman, second half of the year. What's the problem with that? And now what you just said, because he reiterated this in the Instagram Live, the winner of this fight is going to fight Ilia. What happens to Arman? Arman's going to have to fight who? What is going on? What does Arman Tsarukyan have to do to get a shot at the belt now? He did what Khamzat and Islam did not do. He finished his opponent on the ground in dominant, impressive fashion. And now what is he? Now he's just floating in the wind.
With you and the... Well, it's not about getting back in the good graces. It's about, the guy had the opportunity to fight for a title and didn't make weight. It's just, you couldn't f up anything worse than that. But he proved,
Jake Paul reacted to the UFC announcements by calling out what he believes are double standards. He wrote, "They want to abolish the Muhammad Ali Act because they claim they want to give boxing the best fighting the best. So why are all the fans crying foul about these new UFC fights they announced?